Good morning. I'm so glad that you've joined me this morning. I hope that you're feeling well and having a great day and a great week. And thank you for joining me to study English. I'm Marge Peterson with the Claiborne County Adult Literacy Council, and we have these video classes every Tuesday and Thursday morning. And we also have in the classroom face-to-face classes. In Kingsville in the Community Life Center from 8:30 to 9:45 every Tuesday and Thursday morning. So if you're willing to join us in the classroom, please come at 8:30. Any Tuesday or Thursday morning, we'll get you registered in one of the classes, because we have 3 different levels that we teach with. And then, but if you feel more comfortable watching the video class virtually and studying virtually, that's fine too. We're glad that you joined us. I want to say something I haven't said for quite a while in the videos, is that it got kind of personal in the last couple of days, that people are still testing positive for the coronavirus. And I know that it's been about 2 months now since I've had my second vaccination, so I had 2 of them, and so I feel pretty safe, but I still wear a mask when I go to the store, or we require them in class, because not everyone has had the vaccine. And we had one lady that was quite sick for several months with the virus, and so we still want to be careful, because we're still in the pandemic. I mean, it's over a year later, and it's a lot less than it used to be, but at the same time we still have to be careful. So please be careful, and have your children and your families be careful, because we don't want anyone to be sick, and goodness sakes, we certainly don't want anyone dying from the coronavirus, because I think there's been plenty of people that have died, and we just feel for those families and the people that are around them. So anyway, thank you for joining me today. We're going to study idioms first and then do some grammar afterwards. Okay, I think the last time we had the video class, we finished up a category that was, let's see, it was feelings, emotions, and reactions. And we had, I gave you kind of a quiz of worked up, change of heart, mean the world to me, bent out of shape, a chip on your shoulder, head over heels in love, quite a few different ones. And so if you have forgotten them or need a reminder of them, go back and take a look at the videos and refresh your memories, and write them down sometimes, because it'll help you use them, and that's how they get in your brain, to really be able to use them easily. We're going to start a new category today. It's called plants, flowers, and trees. And you notice I did it on green, because plants and trees and flowers too, they all have green around them. Some of them are green in themselves. So anyway, I decided to use a colorful poster board for the idioms in this category. We don't have a lot of them, okay? We've only got 10 of them, and we're going to do 5 today. But they are very common, and you will hear them. In fact, I heard this past weekend when I was listening to watching a couple of shows and listening to a news report, I heard several of these, okay? So that's usually the reason that I pick them, is because if you hear them somewhere, you want to know what they mean, okay? Instead of, sometimes you can guess what they are, but idioms, just like I've always said, idioms, you can't look up each word and figure them out. You take it all together, and it has a special meaning. And this is true in every language, okay? Because I can hear an idiom in Spanish, and if I don't know what it is, I might try to look up the words, and it doesn't make any sense. But it makes sense if you take them all together, and that's what the value of studying idioms is. So, okay, we've had some of these in the past, but not too recently. So, and if you've been following the videos for a long time, you might remember the first three anyway. Okay, the first one, hit the hay. Okay, I know my class, my classroom, face-to-face class, we've had this a couple of times. Hit the hay. You know what hay is? It's what pasture animals eat. Okay, horses and cows and donkeys and the animals that live outdoors in the pasture, they eat the hay. Well, hit the hay, if you're going to think about what the literal meaning is, you'd hit the hay, that doesn't make any sense. It means go to bed. That's all it means. It's very easy. So if someone, and it's a very, how do I say, it's a common colloquial way of saying it, a common, just an expression that people will use. Oh, I'm tired, I have to hit the hay, or I'm going to hit the hay. Okay, go to bed. The second one, we had this one, I think it was like in August or something like that of last year. Turn over a new leaf, okay? So when you turn over a new leaf, if you have, and it says leaf, we also call one piece of paper a leaf of paper, especially if it's in a whole notebook, and turn it over. So the same thing with a leaf outside. If there's leaves and you turn it over, it looks different on the other side, okay? It means to correct one's behavior or attitude, to make a fresh start. So if you let's say that you've been doing some things that aren't really good for you, and so you say, you know what, I'm not going to do those things anymore. Say maybe you eat, in my case, drink too much coffee and eat too much sugar sometimes, okay? That's kind of a common thing. So anyway, and if you say, you know what, I think I'm going to turn over a new leaf. I can drink like 2 cups of coffee in the morning, but then that's all I'm going to do, or something like that. I'm going to correct my behavior, or sometimes it's correcting an attitude. It's something in your head, you know, or to make a fresh start of something. And to make a fresh start, it would be like you're starting to do something again. So it's very common, turn over a new leaf. That was one of the ones that I heard this past weekend, and I thought, that's one of our idioms, okay. Barking up the wrong tree. If you ever watch any mystery movies or anything like that, if somebody's looking for a suspect, like say somebody that has, maybe they've broken the law, maybe they've robbed a bank or something like that, and you know, they do something that, and the police are only concentrating on one person or a couple of people, and only them, but they're not looking for other suspects. It means, if you're barking up the wrong tree, to direct your attention or efforts to the wrong person or thing, okay, to have the wrong idea about someone. So it means that if you're barking up the wrong tree, it's like you should look at other trees, okay? and you know, we had this one before too, last spring I think it was, or something, barking up the wrong tree, when we had idioms about animals, I know, because barking is what we say that dogs do, okay, they bark. And sometimes they chase things up the tree, squirrels or possums or different kinds of, or cats sometimes even, you know. And so that's something dogs will do. So anyway, those three we've had before, and it might be a refresher for you. Now, this one we haven't had before. Beat around the bush. Okay, beat around the bush. This is another one I heard this weekend. It says to avoid answering a question or saying something directly or clearly. Let's say that you work for a boss that's very stern and has a certain, I know that this was one of the ones we had about that if he, let's see, what was it? We had, I don't remember now. There was one that we had deep down. Okay, deep down he was a different kind of a person than what he looks like. Okay, and so say your boss looks very stern and like he's very harsh, and that sort of thing. And then, and maybe you did something that was really, kind of silly, and or it's that it would, like, you made a mistake but not a huge mistake, and you need to tell him. So you go in to tell him, and you start talking about people making mistakes and having problems. You don't tell him right away. You don't go in and say, you know what, I put the wrong address on somebody's, a letter you sent out or something like that, and it came back or something, it's something that wasn't major, okay? And instead of going in and saying, I'm sorry that I did this, it was my mistake and I won't let it happen again, you go in and you start talking about, oh, well, sometimes people make mistakes, and you don't say it directly or clearly. You beat around the bush. If you beat around the bush, that means that you're trying to avoid maybe the giving, saying it so that the other person will get angry with you or be upset with you or something like that. And sometimes, okay, it says to avoid answering a question. Sometimes this happens if there's a politician that has promised this or that and they don't do it, and then they have a news conference and somebody asks them about it, they might avoid answering the question directly, okay? So they might say, well, this was a problem, or that, and not really give an answer, not give a direct answer. That's called beating around the bush. And we use it, in fact, all of these, hit, turn, bark, beat, all of those are verbs. So you would say, he beat around the bush, or I think you are barking up the wrong tree, or I am going to turn over a new leaf. He hit the hay early, okay? So you would use those, you could, as verbs, they are verbs, and you'd use them with different nouns or different subjects, okay? This last one is not a verb. Grassroots. And it's very common, especially when you come to talking about maybe political groups, or maybe groups that have large amounts of members, okay? And maybe some of the members are more influential than others because of either the jobs they have, or the positions they have, or the money they have, or something like that. Grassroots refers to ordinary people who form the main part of an organization. I had never seen I knew what grassroots were, or what they would refer to, like if someone says, we're going to form a grassroots group in this larger group, okay? And it means the ordinary people. But I had never seen it written as a definition before. It refers to ordinary people who form the main part of the organization. I thought that was interesting because when there's lots of people that are just ordinary people, but they support something, they are the grassroots, okay? So this one, grassroots, we would use that more either as a noun, or we might use it as together as an adjective. The grassroots organization, or the grassroots part of the organization, okay? So, hit the hay, turn over a new leaf, barking up the wrong tree, beat around the bush, and grassroots. They all have to do with some kind of plants, flowers, or trees, okay? So I hope that even if you've heard some of them, I hope that you've learned a couple new ones. And listen for them. If you watch a movie, or if you're reading something in English sometimes, you might see those things. And that way you know what they mean. Okay, good. Next time we'll have the last 10, the last 6 to form 10, because there's not as many in this category, but they are good to know and important to know. Okay, now we are going to switch to grammar now, and we had been looking at let me turn over here. The simple past verbs, okay? The base form and the simple past, and let's see. I don't think I want. Well, maybe I will review all of them because we've had let's see. Begin with 7. Okay. There's 9 of them, okay, and we've had 8 of them. Yeah, we haven't had number 9 yet, I don't believe. Yeah, that's it. We've had 8 of them. And let me just review the last couple of them, because group number 7 has long O sounds in the past tense. And I'm going to I'll write the verbs up here, and this is, if you've been following, this is number 7, and I've been doing them by groups, is what they call them. Okay, all of these, first I'll put the regular verb, sometimes they call this the base form, sometimes it's called the infinitive form, okay? Break, choose, sell, tell, speak, steal, drive, ride, wake, and write. Now, there's more than this, okay? But these are the most common. And also something else I was going to mention is that no matter if you use them in this form, I'm going to move these over a little bit. Okay, ride, wake, and write. Even if you use another word that makes it, like if you say, I am going to resell my kitchen table. Okay, let's say that you bought it last year and it's just too small or too large or something, it's not right, so you're going to resell it. Even if there's like a prefix like re, or let's see, there was one, or if you have something on the end of it, or on the beginning of it, like you know the word stand. Well, if it says understand, or there were some other ones like rewrite would be another one. There would be, even if you add something to underwrite, okay, that would be one that you would use for fundraising or something like that. Even if you have a prefix on the beginning of it, so it's not exactly the same word, you still have the same past tense that you're making. So if you say, what was I was just saying? I'm going to resell. I resold my table for $10 or something like that. Let's see, what was, if I say underwrite, the bank is going to underwrite the cost of the program or something like that. And you say they underwrote the cost of the program. So, okay, all of these don't make any sense as far as rhyming or anything, but the past tense has a long O sound, and I'm going to put it like that. So, break becomes broke. Choose becomes chose. He chose that car. Sell becomes what? Sold. Tell rhymes with sell, and it has the same kind of told. That's right. Speak becomes spoke. Steal becomes stole. Drive is what? Drove. They drove. All of these are past tense. All of these are irregular, and that's why we don't say drived or stealed or speaked. Okay, that's what the regular past would be. But all of these are irregular. Ride becomes rode. See, they all have this long O sound in it. Wake. What time did you wake up? I woke up at 10. Write becomes wrote. Okay? Now that's group number 7. Now group number 8, it's a little bit different, and I'll put that up here. Because the words they have all the same letters except one, and that's a vowel. So here's group number become. I'm going to put the base form up here. Become, and the word come. See, there's one right there that has the same has like a prefix on the beginning there. Give is another one. Dig is another one. Hang. Win. Fall. Hold. And get. And like I said before, none of these make sense as far as rhyming or anything else. But you just have to, the more that you write them or use them or practice them, speak them, read them, the more familiar you will become with them, so that when, we wouldn't say holded because it's an irregular one, or we wouldn't say hanged, okay, or gived, okay, because that's what you do when it's a regular past tense verb. These are all irregular. But why these are unique is because you're going to change one vowel in each one of them to make the past tense of them. The vowel is different for all of them. Here's an O, there's I, A, another A, another I, O, E. They're all different vowels. But when you make the past tense, become turns into became. See that? Come, the past tense is came. Give, did you give your book to somebody? Yes, I gave him my book. Dig becomes dug. Hang becomes hung. Win becomes won. W-O-N, not O-N-E, okay? Fall becomes fell. Did you fall down? Yes, I fell down. Hold becomes held. Get becomes got. Okay? So, do you see how the past tense, they're not all the same vowel like these. It's just a vowel change is what they call it. So 7 is kind of related to this, to 8, but it's different because whatever this vowel is, it changes. Okay. And then there's one more group, and I hope that you've gotten these because I'm going to erase these right now. This is our last group, and if you've been following the videos, there were 9 groups, and I reviewed quite a few of them. So this is our very last group, and I'm going to show you something first. And they called this one, and this is what, when you can't find a common ground or a common element, they put miscellaneous, okay? And this is how you spell miscellaneous. It means all kinds of different things, okay? If there's a miscellaneous group, they don't have anything common, and they're all different. And that's why I'm gonna put them up here. They don't fit into these other categories. They're different than all of them. So, so I'm going to put those, but there are 5 of them that are very, very common because many times these are helping verbs, okay? The verb be, and the verb do, the verb go. That's not so much of a helping verb, but that's a very common one. Have, that's another helping verb. And say. These are very, very common, and I know that you use the present tense and the past tense of these many times a day. Many, many times a day, okay? So, the past of be is either was or were. That's what's difficult sometimes because it changes in the third person. Usually it's were, like we were, well, they were, you were, but I was, he was, she was, okay? So I have to put both of those there because it's going. Do becomes, do you know what? Do you know what it is, the past? Did. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment after I show you the other miscellaneous one. Go, and that's not a helping verb, but it's a very common one. Went. Have is had. Say is said. And make sure that when you pronounce this word, S-A-I-D, it's not said. It's said, as if it was spelled like that, as if you had the word read. Okay, read, said. It's not said, said, said. That's a little pronunciation help there, because it's very important, because said, if you say, well, I said this, what? You know, people might not understand what you're saying at all, because we don't ever say said, we say said. Said is how we pronounce it. Okay, so these are the 5 most common miscellaneous ones. Let me show you the others, okay? Okay, and there's quite a few of them they put on here, but I'll put them up here. Bite, you know what bite is? Eat. Some of these are pretty common, you know them. Find. Hear. We'll talk about some of these pronunciations too. Lose. It's not loose. We don't pronounce that as an S, we pronounce it as a Z. Lose. Pay. See. Stand. Take. I think you know the past of most of these. Tear, and this is pronounced tear, not tear. As a verb, it's pronounced tear. As a noun, it's pronounced tear. If you have a tear come out of your eye, okay. Tear, and it rhymes with this one. Wear, where. Fly, and the last one is understand. Okay, let's look at the past tense of each of these, okay? Do you know the past tense of bite? Did you bite did you bite the, whatever? Did the dog bite you? Yes, he bit me. He bit me. Okay, B-I-T. Eat, the past is ate. Did you eat your banana? Yes, I ate my banana. Okay, the past of find is found. Did you find your keys? Yes, I found my keys. Here. Now this is another one I want you, we pronounce that here. The past tense, we don't pronounce it heerd. I've heard people say that. And I know it's confusing. That's what makes English language confusing too, because you can see the word here in the past tense, but we don't pronounce it heerd, okay? It's pronounced heard, heard, as if you're saying her and adding a D, heard, heard. So here is the base form of the verb. Past is heard, heard, not heard, heard, heard. This one, as I said, it has a Z sound, so it's lose. Did you lose your keys? Yes, I lost my keys. The past is lost. Okay, pay. The past is paid. Did you pay for your meal? Yes, I paid for my meal. See, the past is saw. And that's one that's really unusual. It's not seed, it's saw. Stand, the past is stood. And of course, let's go down here for a minute to the last one. Just as I said earlier, here is understand. Okay, so what would the past be? Understood. Yes. Because if you know stand, the past is stood. Understand is understood. Okay. Take, the past is took. Took. Okay. It's a sound, not a took. 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 English pronunciation is difficult, I know. And that's why I like to help you out. I help my students out because the more you can pronounce things correctly, the more people will understand you when you go to H-E-B or Walmart or at the airport or to the doctor's office, someplace that you have to go. Okay? It's not took, it's took. Took. Take, took. Tear, tear. Sounds like air. Sounds like this word. Tear, air. Okay, it's not spelled that way. The past is tore. Did he tear his pants? He tore his pants. Okay? So if that one is tore, what do you think this one would be? I wore my new dress. Did you wear your new dress? Yes, I wore my new dress. Okay. This one is also difficult to figure out. Fly, the past is flew, not flied, flew.